Alright guys, today we're going to be building a lovely $5 loadout. We did $1 last week and today I can absolutely cook. With it being $5, that does mean that we don't have a knife or glove, so I got to very quickly apply the default knives and gloves onto everything. Alright guys, so with the $5 budget, you get no knife, no gloves, and no agent. It is just flat out weapon skins. But the nice thing is, with $5, you can actually build pretty much a full loadout that looks solid. We're going to kick it off with the USP ticket to hell here. This is field test and comes in at 46 cents. You could use like a Desert Tactical or that 2.7 USP we looked at in the $1 loadout, but I feel like this upgrade is definitely worth it. Now, we are going to look at CT side first, but the P250 obviously you can use on CT and T side, and getting a P250 cassette in the minimum wear for only 9 cents here is a really nice pickup. I think this is a great value for money skin. One of the newest Desert Eagles in the game is a banging option here. You can get the tilt it in field test for 17 cents if it wants to give me it. There we go. No lag. I can actually see it now. Now, field test here at 17 cents is a really good sort of pick. You can see some wear comes through on it. This is a relatively high float field test it. But if you really wanted to, you could stretch and get minimal wear for very little in the grand scheme. I'm lagging like a bitch on 25 ping, we hate to see it. But on the dual Beretta side of things, we can get some ventilators for 13 cents. Honestly, for the dual Berettas, there is a handful of options, but I thought the ventilators were the best shout for just looking clean with the default gloves. And then the 5.7 also had a bunch of options, but I really think the flame test is a perfect pick here. It looks so clean in minimal wear, and I like that it's almost got like a glitter aspect on the purple with the flame coming through for 10 cents. This is sweet. And the server is not having fun today, guys. I apologize. Now, you can get one of my favorite MP9 skins in this loadout now. It is 62 cents for field tested, but it holds up pretty well. And this is the MP9 Deadly Poison. And I think it's a really nice skin for the money that you're paying. Now, this one is the same as last week, I'm pretty sure. We're going to have a Wash Me Please as the Emperor A1S pick, because in minimal wear, you can get it for 24 cents. It's also pattern based, so you can get the marking slightly differently. Those areas of like almost that purple shade show up in different areas as well. And it's really nice. But for basically the same price, if you want a different option, you could go for the mud spec as the alternative, and at this point it's all personal preference. Either way, I think both skins here for the Emperor A1S are incredibly good for the budget we're looking at. Now, on the Emperor A4, last week we had a polymag, and that's a decent skin, but I wanted to get an upgrade in this time, and it was pretty much between what you're seeing on screen now, which is the Emperor A4 Magnesium, or the X-Lord. Overall, with the default gloves, I think the Magnesium works better, so 93 cents for this is going to be my pick. And, well, I'm not going for a theme here. I'm also mindful of a little bit of pairing with the gloves, and Magnesium actually looks pretty good with it. And another one you will use on both sides is the AWP, of course, but I wanted to get away from that hell of the Safari Mesh, so I'm going to spend 64 cents here and get a minimal wear capillary. Now, if you are wondering price-wise, these prices are from the 14th of March. The market is in shambles right now, in a good way of just endlessly rising. I think it had a slight dip yesterday, but, you know, it's a really tough one for planning things out, so if these prices increase in the future, I can't control it. If they go down, then absolutely wonderful for you guys. And then the final CT skin we're going to have is the Famous, and it's going to be the Meow 36. This is 8 cents in minimum wear. It's absolutely cheap and cheerful. You want to use the Famous these days, following its buff. It's actually a bit more viable, but you don't want to spend that much money on a skin for it. Now, I may have forgot to turn my T agent off, so I apologize for that, but I want to see the T gloves here, and the Glock of choice here is going to be the Warhawk. It's 30 cents in minimal wear. There is an absolute bunch of Glock skins you can get at this price range. It's massively personal preference. I personally quite like the Warhawk style and the color of it, but you may want to go with the Bunsen Burner. You may want to go with a Winterize or a Moonrise. Like, there's a lot of options. I have been absolutely loving the Tech 9 in CS2 the last month or two, so I think you need to get a skin for it. And for 9 cents in field test, I think this View Bar is actually quite an interesting one. You get that green camo, along with almost like a really shiny green on the top that almost has a fade aspect at the bottom. It's kind of interesting for the price. And normally I would be looking at a Allure or an Ensnared, maybe a light box for the Mac 10, but I really want to do something different here. And I'm going to go for the Whitefish. This is 28 cents in minimum wear. You don't see it that often in game, but it actually looks pretty good. And with the gloves here, I think it's pretty solid. Obviously, default gloves, full black skin with white accents on it. It looks pretty damn good for the price. We can get a slightly better Gale included this time, which is going to be the new edition of the Envy. This is 29 cents in minimum wear. I think it looks clean in general. Obviously, it is green accents, but it's mostly black and grey with those green accents. So for the price you're paying, a pretty solid skin. Again, with the default T gloves, looks good. Now, I'm not going to be changing the AK-47. We're going to continue with the Olive Polycam in minimal wear for 39 cents. Since this has been added, it just absolutely elevates the budget AK game. Previously, we would have looked at an Uncharted, maybe an Elite build in like quite high wear, but the fact this is minimal wear now, good price, even in the $5 budget, we still want to go for it. And then the final skin I've squeezed in to this $5 budget is the Scout Disaster. This is 15 cent for minimal wear. I really like this kind of like off grayish blue color into the black with the red accents. It's calling out to have some complexity or heroic stickers put on it, and the papers are very cheap, so you can work away. And that means this total loadout cost is $4.96. So we're coming in under that $5 budget for at least time for planning, and we're getting essentially a full loadout. We're missing some stuff. For example, we don't have a UMP, we don't have a Mag 7 or an XM, but those are the areas you could look to upgrade for not too much money. I picked out 5 skins that you could look to upgrade to. Actually, in hindsight, the XM Hieroglyph is 4 cent, and that would take us to exactly $5 total budget. So you could actually squeeze this in if you wanted to, but for my planning, I had it in as a bonus pickup. For the Mag 7, we could take a look at the likes of the Foresight. This is 11 cent in minimum wear, so again, really nice value for money picks here that have some interesting cool artwork, but we don't need to spend too much on these weapons because ultimately we won't be using them that much, at least if you're playing with the most sort of meta competitive environment in mind. While the MP7 has a handful of picks, I quite like the Urban Hazard as the option here. It's 17 cent for minimum wear. And yes, it does start to pick up some accents, but I think this camel color with that orange accent actually looks quite nice, and I wouldn't be against seeing this on like mil-spec skins in the future. Now, for the UMP, I'm not sure if it's the start of the F1 season, but the Motorized has been doing bits for me recently. I think I've always liked the 3D mapping on it, but I think minimal wear, the fact it is like this sort of grayish silver black with a little bit of accent color popping on it, for 15 cent, it's pretty damn solid. And then the final bonus skin I'm going to suggest is an AUG. This is the Trachea. It's 14 cent in minimal wear. Yes, some people might look at me and be like, man, we don't use the AUG at all. But for some people, myself included, and a couple of guys on the Elixir team, there's certain positions on some maps where AUG is actually worth picking up, and we can get some bits done with it. So if you were to get these bonus skins, these 5 bonus skins, they would cost 61 cent and make the new loadout cost $5.57. So you can, even without the bonus skins, pretty much get a skin for every single weapon you should really be using in CS2. And then you can pick up some extras along the way. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to end my waffle in here. Next week, we're going to have a $10 video where we will look at getting a skin for every single weapon you will have equipped, plus some upgrades, obviously, based on what you've just seen here. So hit that like button if you enjoyed it. Hit the subscribe button if you aren't here. A huge thank you to the YouTube members that continue to support the channel. It is greatly appreciated. We'll have more viewer loadouts coming soon as well. So make sure you're in the Discord to get involved in those. Thank you for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.